Luke 10. When Jesus is sending out the 70, interesting number, or 72, some texts have, it probably takes us back to Genesis 12, and really the story that predates that, which is in Genesis 10 and 11, where God divides the nations out by languages, remember? In Jewish thinking, and you can do this by looking at the names of the tribes back there, there seem to be 70 nations that God institutes or defines through that language story of Babel. And so most Jews have understood that they came out of the 70 nations. That's a very Jewish idea when Abraham was called. And so possibly what Jesus is doing is setting up a picture, a word picture, of him sending 70 people corresponding to the 70 nations to tell the world that, remember the language of the story is, tell them that the kingdom of the God, Yahweh's kingdom, is now coming near them. So it's a challenge of kingdoms, the kingdom of man versus the kingdom of God, or something like that. Well, the disciples return, it says, with joy. Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name. They were stunned because demons would fall down before them, and that had never happened again, where humans could tell demons what to do, or humans telling the gods how to act. And to this statement, Jesus says basically, well, your story has my backstory as the reason for this. Verse 18, I saw Satan fall, which means simply to get down. I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. Boom, he went down. As we met in Luke 4, think of the thousands of years of world history that have predated this moment, and all of a sudden, at one moment, Satan falls down in front of me. I think it's behind that idea when Jesus says, get behind me, or get behind me, or under me, in terms of authority. This word to fall is often used for people showing obeisance to someone in authority. Mark 5:22, one of the rulers of the synagogue came, Jairus by name, and when he saw Jesus, he fell, pipto, at his feet. Luke 5:12, a leper saw Jesus and he fell on his face and implored him. So I think he's simply talking about the moment in time in Luke 4 when Satan admitted who was who. And then so Jesus refreshes the story. Well, this story gives you the ability to do the same. It reminds us of really the larger story of what Jesus is about, that he has come to put his feet down on the ground where his followers would follow step by step as well, that what happens to Jesus will happen to us, and including, as we've already now seen, suffering and death will be the call upon those who follow Jesus. Verse 24, I tell you that many prophets and kings have desired to see what you see and have not seen it, and to hear what you hear and have not heard it. I think it's Jesus' way of saying, imagine the critical moment, guys, in world history that you're living through, where thousands of years have led to one moment where Satan now falls in front of me. You're experiencing the same thing. Well, the famous Good Samaritan story ends our text, and it is said in response to a man who asks about the law, and Jesus reminds him that Leviticus 19, verse 18 says, love your neighbor as yourself, so that's part of law. And the man said back, maybe under his breath, yeah, well, that pushes the question to who is my neighbor, when you think about it, because does my sworn enemy count as my neighbor? And Jesus says, well, here's a story. A priest, a Levite, and a Samaritan all come upon an injured man, presumably a Jew, and only the Samaritan does what he should do, takes care of the man, even pays his bills. And so Jesus ends that by saying, go and do likewise, meaning that he was to love the Samaritan in order to fulfill Leviticus 19, which is really pushing, again, the idea of how much is this Gentile inclusion. I've come to seek and save the lost. How much of this is important to the story of Jesus? Jesus is, I think, really emphasizing it as though it's absolutely vital to why he came to earth, to help his family of Israel, his Jewish friends and family, understand that even Samaritans, their sworn enemy since 800 BC, are to be part of this group. And so it really sends us back to the beginning of the chapter at the end, when at the beginning in Luke 10:2, when Jesus said, "The harvest truly is great, but alas, the laborers are few," especially when they hear that Gentiles will be part of that harvest.